Hello everyone, welcome back for another video. Today we are discussing friendships. And more specifically, I actually saw something on TikTok yesterday and it sparked this entire idea. A girl was essentially talking about red flags to look for in a friend, and I figured I would do a spin-off of that with my own personal things that I have went through in some toxic friendships in the past, so that you guys can be on the lookout for these types of girl besties. Now, this video is 5 red flags to spot in a girl best friend. This can obviously be translated through any gender, but I find that these qualities are usually living in the feminine person, AKA the woman, essentially. And this is just something that I have noticed throughout the years, that certain people will be this way. And although friendships can be really amazing and rewarding and fulfilling, there are some downsides to certain people and why you shouldn't be friends with them. And I wanted to kind of emphasize and highlight those things today. And if you guys want me to do a separate video on how to meet high vibrational, wonderful friends, please let me know down below and I will do that, because if you guys don't already know, I have absolute wonderful friends. I have lifelong friends, and I actually didn't always have such a good relationship with women. I actually was always a hopeless romantic for friendships in a non-sexual kind of way. I just loved being around other women, and I would just meet people who were awful human beings. And I took a really big break from friends for a while and self-isolated, pretty much around the time that I started building my YouTube channel. And then I met Aisha years ago, back in 2019. And she was like the first person that I introduced into my life outside of who I already knew prior, after just cutting off everyone. And it was so refreshing meeting her, because we are very like-minded and have similar values, and she was just a breath of fresh air to introduce into my life. And it really showed me that there are people out there who love themselves and are really good people and will make really amazing friends. I'm always eternally grateful for her. But I really want to get into this today because I think that a lot of you guys are going to resonate with this video. You might have a friend like this in your life as we speak, or you just kind of got out of a girl best friendship with someone like this. And my opinions today are kind of hot takes. Granted, I'm sure you guys will agree with most of the things that I say, but some of them can be kind of controversial and hot takes because it could seem like a reach, but in my opinion, it isn't. Usually, if something looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a freaking duck. So that's why I came up with the girls that I think you guys should avoid. So let me know down below who you were friends with out of the 5 girls that you are no longer. The first girl best friend to avoid, and I have this written down, I have everything written down because these notes are juicy. The deeply insecure bestie. Now, I want to say this before I list the 5 bad red flag best friends, that not everything is always super obvious. Of course, sometimes you can spot an insecure person from a mile away, but I want you guys to know that not every deeply insecure bestie is showcasing her insecurities loud. And I'm gonna get into how you can really spot this person. So, the first thing that I wrote down for the deeply insecure bestie is she is someone who constantly shames herself and also others. Not only will she constantly nitpick herself apart, but she will also criticize other people literally all the time and talk so bad about other women or just people in life. And sometimes she won't even criticize herself. She will just only talk about other people. And this is still someone who's deeply insecure, because if you really are that bitch, then why do you care what everyone else is doing? She is never happy for you because it hasn't happened for her yet. A lot of the deeply insecure besties are going to feel threatened by your success and your ambition and your boyfriend and your career and whatever you got going on, because she wants to be the center of attention. Usually these people, when they were younger, were either bullied or they had maybe a really difficult parent that always made them feel not worthy. And again, these are kind of sad things. And I feel bad for anyone that goes through this, and I hope that they're able to heal. But they cannot heal with you as a friend at the moment. They need to do that journey on their own. Because these are just really dangerous people, because they will end up projecting their insecurities onto you and making your life living hell, and you won't understand why. So yes, this is someone who probably when they were younger were either bullied, they were a late bloomer, they weren't picked for anything, their parent was maybe not nice to them, and then they grow up to be very insecure. And I want you guys to also understand that not always the deeply insecure bestie is the ugly friend. A lot of the time, she's the most beautiful girl in the room. She can be someone who is super meticulous with her looks and really takes care of herself and is sometimes very high achieving and has done a lot for herself. I want you guys to understand that this is all an illusion, because she has practiced the art of pretend confidence. Pretend confidence can look so many different ways, and sometimes it can be similar to real confidence. But I want to note that pretend confidence is loud and real confidence is quiet. So make sure that you guys understand that when you're trying to dissect, is my friend the insecure bestie, or is she just a super confident girl? You will be able to understand the difference. In the beginning, you can possibly feel sorry for this girlfriend because you know that she's maybe been through a lot or has experienced trauma, or maybe just has a little bit of growing to do. So you will put aside some of these behaviors, but I want you guys to understand that the dangers of being friends with someone like this is they will have the weirdest behavior when it pertains to leveling. They will never truly be happy for you. They will never actually want you to do well if it means that you're doing better than them. They might not mind you doing well as long as they're ahead, but the second you get a little bit ahead of them or you're doing something more powerful in the moment, they will completely lose control. They'll gaslight you, bully you, manipulate you into thinking that you're the one with the big head and that you think you're better than them, when in reality, you don't think you're better than them. They just don't like themselves. It is important to note that these people just genuinely need to work on themselves and grow as an individual. If they do not, they will end up just only attracting fake friends in their life, because nobody wants to be friends with someone who is deeply insecure and projects all the insecurities onto other people. They usually lash out, they're very judgmental, and they will cut you off if they feel like you're ahead of them in life or you're better than them. And if, let's just say, to play devil's advocate, you are pretty or she only surrounds herself with pretty people, she does it for a status reason, but the second the attention is not on her, she will throw a fit. So just keep in mind that these girls don't necessarily only befriend ugly, fat people, because a lot of the times people will think, well, the deeply insecure girl is going to want to look the best, so she's going to only befriend girls that are not good looking. That is not true. A lot of the times they like the look of the status that beauty brings into a room. So they can be friends with other beautiful women. They just don't like when those beautiful women get attention over them. Okay, number 2 for a red flag in a best friend, specifically a girl best friend, is someone whose entire existence revolves around men. It's giving pick-me-sha vibes. She has toxic after toxic encounter, and she drags you out of the house just for you to find out that you're really only there to be her wingman. She didn't bring you out because she wants to have a girls' night with you and enjoy your company. She brought you out because she doesn't want to go out alone. And a lot of these people will end up ditching you for a guy, or they will throw you under the bus in front of men to make themselves look better. They do everything in their entire power to seek male validation. Their entire life focus is getting married or getting a man to wife them up and having good treatment from men, because they do not see their life outside of what a man thinks of them, which at first this can seem harmless and a little bit like a character flaw, because we all know someone who can't let men go. Like, they just can't. Like, they're obsessed with men. They're a little boy crazy. And at first, like I said, it's just like, oh, it's harmless. But no, these people just do not make good friends, especially good long-term committed friends, because they will end up leaving you for a man. They will do anything in their power to sustain a friendship with you when they are single. They love you the most when they're single. They want to hang out with you the most when they're single, and they'll call you and be a good friend to you when they're single. The second they're booed up, you don't even know where they went. And that is really how it is with some of these people. I actually was friends with a girl like this in freshman year of high school. And of course we were super young, but I did notice that she was more boy crazy than the traditional girl that age. And she was in a 2-year relationship literally when I met her. And I thought that was a little bit odd, because we were freshmen, so that means that she was with this guy since like the 7th grade, I guess. And she was just a little bit more advanced than I was in certain things. And he ended up breaking up with her around the time that her and I just became friends. And I saw her a good amount prior to the breakup, but it was more like a him, her, and me kind of thing. We hung out in threes. She never hung out with anyone without him present. And I found that it was just like a little bit weird. And the second they broke up, she was blowing up my phone, doing nice things for me, being a great friend. And I was so grateful because I'm like, oh, like this girl is so amazing. And I didn't think anything of it because I was young. And as we were, continuing the friendship further, I found that she was doing everything in her power to get another boyfriend. And she ended up getting one. And he was much older than us, actually. And the second she got him as a man, she completely cut me off as a friend. I think that the way it ended was she gaslit me into thinking that I was in the wrong for wanting to spend time with her. She said I was breathing down her neck. But in reality, she just did not answer my calls or hang out with me anymore. So she wanted me to think that I was the problem because she didn't want to address the fact that she's boy crazy. And when somebody's boy crazy when they're kicking, screaming, crying, throwing fits, acting a fool over a man that barely likes them. It's just a little bit odd. And especially when we get to an older age, ladies, it's important that when we reach our 20s and our mid-20s and our 30s and 40s, that we're not friends with someone whose entire focus of life is men. It's very obnoxious. And the friendship between you and her usually will just not be super authentic because platonic connections mean something to her, but they don't mean enough to her. She wants romantic connections in her life, and it's just the only thing that she really actually cares about, which is very dangerous. And these people end up, gossiping and throwing you under the bus to men and making you look bad and finding ways to make herself look good. You don't want to go out with a pick-Misha, guys. When you go out with a pick-Misha, let's just say a man is giving you some attention and she sees it and she kind of likes him, she'll find a way to make you look bad by saying something along the lines of like, oh, like, she's just a little much. You wouldn't like her. She has a crazy side. And they'll find ways to make you look bad while trying to emphasize why they look good. And it's just dangerous, and it's a no for me. I want a self-actualized girlfriend who knows how to have a girls' night without the pursuit of always looking for a man to give them some sort of attention. Guys, I'm preaching today. Okay, the next girlfriend to watch out for, this is a huge red flag in my opinion, and I've seen this go south for a lot of people, and it's the simple and lazy friend. Now, some traits that I wrote down of the simple, lazy friend. Now, before I read you guys the traits, if you are also low maintenance and simple, you might be able to get along with this person, but let me just challenge your thought for a second. If ever in life you choose to elevate, become ambitious, get better looking, maybe lose some weight, or get a good relationship, she will suddenly be very upset. So I just want to keep that in your thoughts that let's just say you're also simple and lazy and you meet a simple and lazy person that it would be an issue. It might not in the beginning, but the second you elevate, it sure will be. So some traits of a simple, lazy person. They are someone who requires very little in a doormat kind of way. And they also like to brag about it, by the way. They're someone who lacks ambition. They do not mind, living just very even keel and doing really nothing with their lives. And the second you want to elevate in some way, it is very bothersome to them. A lot of the times, this can be someone who isn't really keeping up with themselves hygienically. Ladies, if you guys are grown, you need to make sure that your friends are hygienic. And I know it's an awkward and uncomfortable conversation to have, but if you're going out to dinner with this person and they stink and look a hot mess, people are going to think that it's you who smells as well. You cannot be out with people like this. And I know it sounds kind of disrespectful, or not disrespectful, but pretentious, but it's not. This is important. Being a hygienic, clean, and just, a good person is respectful when you go out, and it's disrespectful to show up dirty. Someone who finds any luxury to be unnecessary. Now, I'm not just talking about someone who has an issue with you buying a Chanel bag, but they also think it's weird when you go and get like a facial or your nails done or a coffee in the morning. They just don't like anything that is is a luxury of any kind. These people become very nitpicky and judgmental friends, and they constantly brag about being low maintenance and frugal. Now, at first, like I said, guys, these are not super obvious traits all the time. Sometimes you can find that these qualities are endearing when you meet this person because they'll say something that, you know, comes off some way and you're like, wow, this person's really down to earth. But don't let them fool you. They're not being down to earth. They find ways to sneak diss people who want better, who are high maintenance and take good care of themselves. And not only do they have an issue with you taking care of your outward appearance, but they also have an issue with you wanting high standards for yourself and having a certain value system and anything that has to do with something that is better than the now. So let's just say that you want to go to a nice restaurant with a man. Well, she'll say something like, damn, girl, you should just be happy that he's even taking you out. Should I? Because I can take myself out, babe. I can take myself out to dinner. So why should I be happy? Relax. Then they're the same people who will have very ridiculous conversations about the 50-50. Like, these girls nowadays, they just think that they're so hot and that they're going to get these great guys and they are just complaining about going 50-50. And it's like, okay, like, you need to relax. Like, they are always pro men, which honestly, I would have to say that the simple, lazy friend can also a little bit be a pick-Misha because she finds a way to make the fact that she's low maintenance and doesn't require a lot as a personality trait that gets her men. But little does she know she's not getting quality men. And I do believe that this person is also deeply insecure and unhappy with themselves. I don't really believe that anybody who has to constantly put other people down and has so much commentary about other people's lives is truly happy in their own situation. I actually saw an episode recently of Married at First Sight. Do you guys watch that show, by the way? I absolutely love that show, and I just started the new season. And one of the girls on the show, she's getting married, and I actually really like the girl a lot. She seems like super cute. And she was saying that she's never really been in a super committed relationship until now. This will be her first committed relationship, and she's 29. And her friend got on camera and was like kind of making fun of her, being like, I don't know how marriage is gonna work for her because she's just like really high maintenance and thinks that she can just get whatever she wants. And it just felt weird to me because I can kind of tell that the friend was embellishing a little bit to make the girl look bad. She actually maybe is just a girl who has high standards, who has self-respect, and maybe just prioritized herself, her education, and things that she had going on in her 20s that she didn't want to focus on men at the time. But her friend tried to find a way to make it seem like, oh, she just wants too much, so I don't think this marriage is gonna work. If that was my friend talking about me like that on TV, it would be a cut, baby. These people have very simpleton, loser-like energy, and they will make you feel bad for literally doing anything. And it, like I said, can start off being a little harmless in the beginning. They can be very down to earth and give off the vibe that they are like just really like a cool, calm, and collective person. And a lot of us who don't necessarily look for our friends to be gorgeous and perfect, we might be able to be friends with someone like this in the beginning because we're thinking, okay, I don't care about looks or how she cares about herself and things like that. I just care if she's a good friend or not. But best believe that these people are not good friends because if they are befriending someone who is so different from them, looks so much better than them, and is high maintenance, and they stress the importance of how important it is to be low maintenance and how ridiculous other women look when they're being high maintenance, how can the friendship really work? She is literally talking about the very being and existence of yourself. So she can't like you and dislike those other people. It doesn't make sense. A lot of these people will embarrass you in front of family, friends, and strangers. This friendship just needs to be completely cut off because it will never progress into something meaningful because this person is weirdly obsessive with anyone who wants better for themselves. Okay, the fourth friend to look out for, someone that you really need to understand is a very difficult friend to have, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have had this friend, is the person who makes everything about them. It always comes back to them. And I wrote down, every moment of your life is serving this person. All convos come back to them. They tend to have a victim narrative. They don't give an F about your life literally at all. And their friendship feels one-sided, or your side of the friendship just feels one-sided. This person just doesn't understand the meaning of reciprocity. They will come into your life and maybe you'll think like, oh, like she's a really cool girl. A lot of these girls that make everything about themselves tend to be very pretty and have maybe like a flashy life, and you kind of like how they carry themselves. themselves. They could also have like a nonchalant vibe to them, and you might like them a lot at first, but eventually they will make you seem and feel unimportant. And at first, like I said, they can disguise themselves as cool and nonchalant, and you tend to like this person similarly to how you would like a toxic hot guy. You're intrigued by him, but you know he's not really that great and he's a little self-centered, but you try to see it through. That is how this friend kind of gives off the energy. Like, you know, they are just someone who you eventually maybe can tolerate, and then you realize you can't because they don't actually care about the friendship with you. You sometimes will talk to them and they will literally call you, speak to you on the phone about their day, and literally be like, okay, gotta go, bye. And you're like, did that really just happen? Like, did I really just have a conversation with someone where they told me their entire life story and then didn't ask me how I was doing and hung up? That is how this friend is. And they also tend to have a victim-like narrative, which is annoying. They will always find a way to make everything bad in life have to do with them. You know, if a guy breaks up with them, or a friend, you know, is not friends with them anymore, or their parents are not getting along with them, it's always them. They are never the problem. They're like, oh, not me. Everyone else is the problem. And you got to really see this and go, oh, that's an issue. You don't want to be friends with someone who cannot take any accountability. And usually someone who makes their entire existence about themselves, they just can't. Some things that will end up happening if you're friends with this girl, she will gossip about you, make up a lie that works in her favor, but throws you under the bus in the meantime. And she'll even ghost you and gaslight you into thinking that it was all your fault. A lot of these people are sometimes opportunistic in nature, and they will only befriend you when they need something out of you, because really their life is solely about themselves. They do not actually care about the true meaning of friendship. They don't actually want real friends, because to them, they are super fulfilled all by themselves. They live in their like little mansion in their head with their fur coat down to the floor, and life is just beautiful, and they have friends as like a part of the plot, but they don't actually value friendship and what it means to actually practice the art of reciprocity and understanding that to give is to also take, and to take is to also give. You can't just be giving people all your BS and not receiving some of theirs. It is supposed to be a friendship that is dual and that you're coming together. And these people just don't know how to do a friendship like that. So they will never celebrate you, honestly, truly. Everything's about them. They will probably get into a fight with their boyfriend on your birthday and get really like heated and upset and cry. And then suddenly now your day is about them, and it's annoying. Who wants to be friends with someone like this? Not me, but we've all been there. And I cut that person off, and I have been great ever since. Okay, and the last friend to look out for, a red flag in a friend, is the weird priorities bestie. This is usually a girl that you will meet in college or in youth. I mean, you could meet her in later life, but I have found that when I do consults and speak to girls from time to time, they will tell me that they'll have a friend similar to this girl. So I'm gonna give you some traits of the weird priorities bestie. She can come off opportunistic. She engages in dangerous or bizarre behavior, seems to always be doing something that she shouldn't, can't sit still for one moment, can't have a moment to herself, always needs to be doing, finds grown people fun to be boring and not exhilarating enough. Now, this friend can feel really fun at first. When you meet them, they're always doing something fun. They'll have you going to certain clubs in Miami. They'll know the promoters and the guy at the door, and she might even know Drake's cousin, and she's just really cool. But let me tell you something about her. She is not really your friend, and she doesn't actually care about friendships. And what's sad about this particular friend is I feel like this type of behavior stems from trauma in some way. I don't really know exactly what it comes from, but it almost seems like they have a very hard exterior that doesn't allow them to be vulnerable or to care about anything real. They don't live in reality. They're always partying. They're always doing drugs. They're always drinking. They probably don't even have a real job. You don't even know half the time how they have the money that they have. They engage in so much casual sex escapades and feel nothing afterwards. And it just makes you feel sorry for them with time, because you're like, like, girl, like, when are you gonna wake up? And I promise you, the older you get, the more you realize that some of these people really never change. They will always be this weird priorities bestie forever. And the friendship cannot last outside of the party scene, because the second you want her to come over and be vulnerable and you want to get to know her on a deep level and you want to actually hang out with this person as a friend, she's not showing up. She doesn't care, because her life is really just a product of what she views fun to be like. And fun for her is being in clubs, partying, going to raves, acting a fool, having her head outside of a freaking convertible. And it's somebody that you can be friends with for a short time or even an acquaintance with, but she's just not a real friend. She tends to be kind of fake and will dispose of you when she no longer needs you in her life, because like I said, this is someone who tends to be a little bit opportunistic in nature. She just isn't someone who values the real meaning of friendship. I have had a friend like this. I know people who have had friends like this. They're fun for a season. They're not fun for life. And they always get caught up in some mess. And if you're trying to elevate, grow, do something beneficial for your future, and you have this girl in your daily life, you're not going to be able to grow. Her life is her life. That's her business. But you're going to have a hard time being able to separate the party life with the weird priorities bestie and you actually trying to get shit done. It's really difficult to manage too. Hey, if you can, pop off, sis. But she doesn't necessarily need to be your best friend. I mean, she could just be someone you hang out with from time to time. But to have this girl as your bestie, ooh, that's really bad. I hope that this shed a light on some of the people that you can avoid. A lot of us have been friends with people like this. And like I said, it's not always super obvious off the get. It's not something that you see always with, you know, perfect vision right when you meet them. And this sometimes develops and changes over time. Some people maybe were never this way and then they suddenly become this way and they have like multiple personalities when it pertains to how they treat you. But I just want you guys to know that this is not something to worry about in the sense of, oh, I can never have good friends and any of that. No, this is just people to look out for so you can cultivate real friendships with real women and really just have something more sustainable and high vibrational and respectful and reciprocal. I hope this video served you guys and I really enjoyed making it. And let me know down below any other video ideas you guys have for me. And yeah, I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. And bye everyone, have a good day. Mwah.